Hey, Tony Gaskins here, and I want to talk to you about this here little phenomenon that we're seeing happen in our dating relationships, and something to think about. And I'm also dealing with the boys program today, so y'all forgive me if I have to pause and answer a phone call. I just missed one not long ago, so I'm expecting a call back here in a minute. But think about this now, because as you getting out here and as you dating, as you moving around, you're gonna get online, do your online dating, or you're gonna get out the house and do your little thing over there, and you trying to get out, you following the little instructions and things that you picking up from your dating coach, from my videos. You're going to be, you're gonna meet somebody. It just how it happens. You're gonna meet somebody, and what a lot of people don't realize is sometimes you may have to go through 9 different people before you meet the one that's ready to settle down. Like, you may have to have 9, 10, 15, 20 first dates. You may have to go through 5, 6, 7 relationships before you meet the one. So it's very important to know and to be able to pay attention to see, how do you tell if this person isn't ready for a commitment even when they say that they are? Because a lot of people will say, here's why people say that they want a commitment: because they don't want to be alone. They don't want to fully commit, but they don't want to have to live alone. They don't want to go to the movies alone. They don't want to sleep alone. They don't want to live alone. A lot of people are not looking for love. They're looking for help. They're looking for a roommate. They want somebody that they could split their bills with. And so you have to understand that. That's a part of it. And one of the things you have to realize is, you cannot get caught up listening to words. You got to focus on actions. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make is getting caught up focusing on the words. And the actions do not match, and you don't pay attention to that. And that's what you have to start doing. So when someone isn't ready for a commitment, you're going to see these signs pop up, and they may be in different orders, but I want you to understand this is what you're going to experience. Now, the first thing, or I won't say the first thing because it may not be in order, but one thing that's not going to happen is they're not going to introduce you to their parents if they come from a very solid situation. If they come from a toxic family, if they come from a regular old, hood, country bumpkin, regular, degular family, you gonna meet that family. It don't matter. Some families don't mind to meet somebody every day. They understand what their family member doing. They know their family member loose. They know their family member all out there. It does not mean anything. So you don't put too much stock on it. But when you don't get introduced and they have a relationship with their family, and it could be family, it could be friends, it could be interchangeable. But when they have a relationship with people that they know, love, and trust, and you don't get introduced within 6 to 12 months, they don't want a commitment. They don't want a commitment. And if they have a child, that child, you should get introduced to that child between, at the latest, 18 months. Between month 12 and 18, if they truly want a commitment, you're going to get introduced to that child. If the child is of age, can speak for themselves, what have you, there will be exceptions to the rule. You might need to do a one-on-one coach session to see. Another sign that'll let you know this person is not ready for a commitment is they won't be consistent in their communication. Now, that's going to be one of the key things, but a lot of people miss it because they assume, because the person, typically it's a man, the man don't work, the man work 12-hour shifts, or the woman work 12-hour shifts. The person, because they work in 12, 16 hours, the person you assume that, oh, they just too busy for you. Or they call you every other day. You assume they just busy, they don't want to be a bugaboo. So that's what you file it as. They busy, don't want to be a bugaboo. What happens a lot of times is the person who is not getting called ends up growing more fond of the person. Instead of being turned off, absence make the heart grow fonder. So you actually start to think about them more, fantasize about them more, and wish they would call you. And that's one of the things that leads to a mistake. That's how you end up being a friends with benefits and not knowing that you friends with benefits. So you got to realize that somebody who doesn't call you every day, and if they can't physically call you, they still gonna text you. And if they can't call or text you because they just somewhere and it's a no phone zone, then that's totally different. But unless it's a no phone zone, then they're gonna reach out to you every single day. They're not gonna let a day pass. Only time they let a day pass when they mad. And if they mad, then you'll know most likely why they mad. You'll have some type of inclination, or they done told you why they mad. So you'll be able to see and realize that. So you gotta process this, gotta think through this. And sorry about that. I had a call come in with my boys program, and all the important links in the description. Now, the next thing what you have to realize is when you've looked at, okay, who are they introducing you to? You've looked at, are they being consistent? When you have to evaluate their emotions, you have to evaluate how they treat you, because one thing about a real commitment is you seek peace and you want things to work out. You want things to flow smoothly. You want to have as little problems as possible. So when you get to this place and you feel like you walking on eggshells and everything you do gets on their nerves and you annoy them, and yet they say they want a commitment, but it seems like they don't like you. You're always being criticized. You're always being belittled. You're always being put down. And you got to be careful, because there's a fine line with that. Sometimes people will express their mind and they'll say, hey, let's do this, let's do that. I feel like we need to work on this. I feel like we need to work on that. I need this from relationship. What do you need from relationship? And so you also got to look at it and make sure that you're not holding it or feeling attacked because of your childhood, your personal childhood trauma. But if you can really feel a resentment and a disgust, it doesn't matter if you've been together 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, then that's a sign that they don't really want a commitment. Like, you are a placeholder. You are someone for convenience. Another thing that you have to realize, when somebody really wants a commitment, they're willing to compromise. They're willing to compromise. They're willing to change for the better. And what I mean by that, in this day and age, that's going to look like if you aren't ready to get into bed. The person you're with is going to respect that. They may not like it, but they're going to respect it if they truly want a commitment. If everything has to be their way, and if they don't get their way, they say that they're going to quit, they're going to throw in the towel, let's just break up. If they're always ready to walk away when they don't get their way, that's a sign that they don't want a commitment. So you got to process that and see that and understand that. Y'all forgive me, another one of the father reaching out to me about his son. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Now, so what you have to pay attention to in this is everything has to come together, and you will see where if someone is treating you more so like a friend with benefits, or if they're treating you like a partner for life. And that'll go hand in hand, because they will want to grow, they'll want to change, they'll be willing to compromise. Let's say you make more money and you met this person online, or they had to move somewhere or go be with their parent who is sick, and then let's say their parent passes away. They don't take it out on you. They appreciate your love and support. You have a bigger job. You have a higher paying job. So they're willing to move to your city. And then their job can transfer, or they work from home, or they can, transfer to your city, or find a different job in your city in their field. And that's what I mean when somebody really wants a commitment. But when it becomes my way or the highway, you become a bother. They're not being consistent. They don't treat you like they like you. They treat you like they resent you. Now you know this person really doesn't want a commitment with you. It doesn't mean they don't want a commitment. It means they don't want a commitment with you. So you got to be mindful of that. Got to think through that, process it, and get to a place to where you can see and understand what's real and what's fake. Because one of the things about it, especially in this day and age with our economy, a lot of people will start to couple up and get them a boo just for financial support. Like, this economy is not economying, and people are feeling it because everything is going up in price, but your income isn't going up. And if a person is the type of person to where financial stress really starts to give them anxiety, it starts to hurt them, it starts to break them, they'll take and just get in a relationship. And that way now they're going half on gas, they're going half on rent, they're going half on food, and it saves them. So you have to make sure you're not in one of those situations. And that leads me to the other side. If a person is always leaning on you financially, this is a grown adult who is saying they want to be with you, they want to be in a committed relationship with you, but you feel more like an ATM, that's a red flag. And this could be a man or a woman that's using their partner as an ATM. Both sides do it. For me, being a man is even more of a red flag when a man is very financially needy. When a man gets to the place that he feels comfortable asking for financial help, and he's always asking for financial help. Can you help me with my rent? Can you help me with my car note? This and that. And you don't recognize a true work ethic, true ambition, to where if he gets laid off of his job, he's up 6 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at the latest. You're watching him get on the computer, and you're watching him fill out that paperwork. You see him on the computer, you see him applying to jobs. You're watching him do this. This right here is when you know it's real. If you don't see that, you don't notice that right there, you can't tell that, then you may have an issue. You got somebody who needed you for help. And another thing is, you got to remember, you're single until you're married. So don't ever get to the point to where you get to the point to where you feel like, y'all give me a truck outside of here, making sure what's going on. Don't ever get to the point to where you feel like you can't be real and you can't assess the situation. And when you look and you see, oh wow, I'm being used, I'm coming out of all this money. And you got to understand, you're single until you're married, so don't feel like you have to treat this person like your husband or your wife financially when they're not your husband or your wife. Save that for marriage. And even then, sometimes a person who's really, really just, they all about money, they'll marry you. But the thing about it is, if they don't really want to truly be committed, they'll be mean. They won't be consistently nice. They won't be that. They'll be mean, and they'll treat you like that, and you'll feel that, and you will feel like you're being used. But you'll have some laughter and you'll have some good times. So you'll write it off as, oh, they just were having a bad day. So you got to look at the patterns. You got to pay attention to it and make sure that you're not being used and that you are laughing and smiling more than you're crying. Got to understand that. But hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. All the important links are in the description. Make sure you grab your spot. We'll talk soon.